Work closely with PTF to contain COVID-19. President Buhari appeals during a virtual meeting with Nigerian Governors Forum. Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 announces 2 weeks extension of easing lockdown. All conditions and guidelines to remain.
The House of Representatives cannot summon our clients on issues such as this.
House of Representatives investigates bribery allegation on NCDC bill. Plus, Waziri Bulama replaces Governor Buni as All Progressives Congress National Secretary. Hello and a warm welcome to the Network News on the NTA. I am Kenneth Ima Amudike. On the news with me tonight is Jennifer Igwe in Lagos, Janie Basi in Port Harcourt, and Mohammed Ibrahim in Maiduguri. Nice to have you join us. President Muhammadu Buhari has made a strong representation to the state governors to work more closely with the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 towards engendering better harmony in the task of containing the prevailing health crisis. This was at a virtual meeting with the members of the Nigerian Governors Forum on the state of the nation. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report.
The virtual interactive session between President Muhammadu Buhari and governors of the Federation was the first amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. President Buhari presided over the meeting from the Executive Council chambers in the State House. With him were the Secretary to the Governor of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, his new Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, Ministers of Justice, Finance, Budget and National Planning, as well as the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Members of the Nigeria Governors Forum, led by the Governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, joined the online meeting from their respective states, deliberating on the fight against coronavirus, especially the next steps in national response to the pandemic. President Buhari harped on the need for the governors to collaborate more effectively with the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 towards containing the health challenge. COVID-19, he emphasized, is beyond technology, power, and resources, saying even countries that had all those are recording highest casualties around the world. He said everyone needs not only to be very careful, but continue to educate and persuade the people to accept the reality of the situation and do all that is necessary to stay safe. The meeting, held behind closed doors and lasted about 1 hour, also discussed, amongst others, economic and security issues. The governors commended the president on the leadership and direction he has given the country in combating COVID-19. They used the forum to congratulate the Nigerian leader for appointing Ibrahim Gambari as his new chief of staff, describing the appointee as a round peg in a round hole. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 says the President's directive on easing of lockdown will continue for another 2 weeks with all the stipulated guidelines in place. The report will come in the course of the bulletin. Now, for the first time since the coronavirus outbreak, World Health Organization leaders are meeting virtually to review the ongoing international response to the global pandemic. Joyce Ometu is here with an update on COVID-19.
Nigeria on Sunday recorded 338 new cases of COVID-19. The total number of cases in the country now is almost 6,000. The new cases were reported in 18 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Latest statistics by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control reveal that Lagos State remains the epicenter of the virus in the country, recording 2,550 cases. Kano follows with 825. FCT has 418. Katsina 248, while Bauchi and Borno states have 215 each. Nigeria now has a total of 5,959 confirmed cases of COVID-19, out of which 1,594 patients have recovered, while 182 deaths have been recorded. Record by Worldometer collated at 6 p.m. indicates that Africa has 87,140 confirmed cases of coronavirus across the continent, 2,794 deaths and 33,876 recoveries. Meanwhile, Madagascar has announced its first death from COVID-19 nearly 2 months after its index case. In the meantime, figures published by Johns Hopkins University indicate that out of the 4,841,065 confirmed cases of coronavirus worldwide, 317,372 deaths have been recorded. In other news, a 2-day virtual meeting of the World Health Organization Assembly is holding in Geneva, where many leaders called for an independent probe into the coronavirus pandemic. At the meeting, Chinese President Xi Jinping says his country has always been transparent about the COVID-19 outbreak and will support a probe once the pandemic is under control. And that's it from here. Many thanks for watching. I am Joyce Ometu.
Recall that on Monday, May 4th, 2020, the federal government began the gradual easing of the total lockdown, which was part of measures to curtail the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, Doing the Year takes a look at the impact of government response on the economy and the citizenry in the last 2 weeks.
Coronavirus, a name which is now on the lips of many, both old and young.
Claudia drivers.
Some of us, by staying home, we are automatically losing our jobs.
PTF fully understand the desire of Nigerians to come out, to continue their lives after 5 weeks of lockdown.
Since the commencement of relaxing lockdown, one giant step taken by the federal government is the adjustment of the 2020 budget to cope with the current global economic realities without sidelining any segment of the nation's economy.
We have a responsibility to see to it that we work very hard to moderate the health and economic impact of this crisis on our country and on our economy.
In the last 2 weeks, the federal government has also sustained a distribution of palliatives to the most vulnerable members of the society. One of such is the school feeding program.
Globally accepted means of supporting children to continue to have access to nutrient-rich foods despite disruptions to traditional channels of school feeding.
The clock is now ticking, and Nigerians anxiously waiting to have their lives back after the pandemic must have been subdued, just as they also look forward to government continuation of the next level agenda. Doing the Year NT News.
We now return to the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, which says the President's directive on easing of lockdown will continue for another 2 weeks with all the stipulated guidelines in place. Here is Kenneth Nanim with the report.
The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 believes the gradual easing of lockdown has achieved remarkable progress, but not without some challenges. PTF Chairman Boss Mustafa explained that the federal government introduced various measures to reduce bank interest rates through CBN intervention facilities to stimulate the economy.
Based on the recommendations of the Presidential Task Force, Mr. President has approved the measures, exemptions, advisories, and scopes of entities allowed to reopen under Phase 1 of the eased lockdown shall be maintained across the Federation for another 2 weeks, effective from today, 18th May, until the 1st of June 2020. The 2 weeks extension of Phase 1 of the eased restriction is also to enable other segments of the economy prepare adequately for compliance with the guidelines preparatory to reopening in the coming weeks. For the Presidential Task Force, we share your pains, but our future is in the hands of every Nigerian, and future decisions would depend greatly on our compliance.
How do we restart our economies safely? How do we move from the narrative of a lockdown to a narrative of a safe reopening so that people can go back to their livelihoods while still staying safe as possible from this virus? How do we do that in the farms? How do we do that in the markets? How do we do that in the schools? How do we do that in transport? How do we do that in aviation? And really, this has to be our focus in the next few weeks.
A slight change in the procedure that we approve flights. This time around, once we receive any request for a flight, we would get in touch quickly with the focal person at the point of entry to see whether there is quarantine space available before that flight is given approval.
He noted that the increase in COVID-19 laboratory network testing, increased bed spaces and training of more health workers to tackle the pandemic are some of the success achieved in the fight against the pandemic. The existing lockdown in Kano State, he added, will be maintained for another 2 weeks.
We do not want Kano figures to escalate and be in competition with the figures in Lagos. And the only way you can do that is to reduce and interrupt the processes of community transmission that was hitherto in Kano.
The PTF says the federal government is adequately collaborating with the state governments to ensure strict observance of interstate movement restriction to further curtail community transmission of the coronavirus. Though the level of awareness on the pandemic across the country is high, the PTF said it will continue to interface with local authorities to create more awareness on the observance of prescribed guidelines.
On stigmatization, this has remained a concern. In the March poll, 81% said they are willing to work with people who recover from COVID-19. However, that figure has now dropped to 78% in the current poll.
Go for regular medical checkups. And as much as possible, don't find excuses for your symptoms. See your doctor and let the doctor determine what is going wrong at a given point in time.
The task force also announced that all approved allowances, especially for security agencies, will be paid after due processes. While the nationwide dusk to dawn curfew sustains for another 2 weeks, Nigerians are advised to take responsibility to contain the virus, as no vaccine is expected till the end of 2021, and the virus is not likely to end soon. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Still on COVID-19, the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology says it has received submissions of claims from many individuals, organizations and institutions that they can either cure or better manage COVID-19 using indigenous herbs and natural products. Justin Bemo-Unyi tells us more.
Ever since the coronavirus disease ravaging countries of the world crept its way into Nigeria late February this year, the science and technology sector has risen to the challenge. This informed the government throwing a challenge to the nation's scientists and technologists to immediately look inwards for a cure and vaccine for the COVID-19 and Lassa fever. This charge on getting a home-based solution to the coronavirus disease was tagged with a reward of 36 million naira. And now, claims and results are rolling in as envisaged. Minister of Science and Technology, however, makes it clear that these submissions, coming with bright chances and encouraging results, will still have to undergo further verifications before making them available to the nation.
Our intention is to bring in the Nigerian Academy of Science. They are assessed and recommendations are made to the ministry. Then the ministry will now present this to the nation.
The determination and interest of the ministry on the matter, he said, is to make sure that homegrown solutions to COVID-19 are found to discourage reliance on other nations to solve the problem. Justin Bemuni, NTA News.
A little bit away from COVID-19, President Muhammadu Buhari has granted audience to the former Minister of Defense, General Theophilus Danjuma. State House correspondent Adamu Samba reports that General Danjuma, who was also the Chief of Army Staff before the Second Republic, met the President behind closed doors. Details of their discussions held behind closed doors were not made public, and efforts by NTA News to hear from him proved abortive. General Theophilus Danjuma served as chairman, Presidential Committee on the Northeast Initiative, established by President Muhammadu Buhari as advisory body for all humanitarian interventions, transformational and developmental efforts in the Northeast region of Nigeria. Let's now pause for some messages. The news continues after this timeout. Stay with us.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
Data plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Dial *777# to choose a plan. Glow Unlimited.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Guy, what happened? This COVID-19 is not easy on my business, so my client just put the project on hold. Imagine that one of last week. They cancelled it. And I am scheduled to call my tax officer next week. What do I tell him? Relax. FIRS has it sorted already. That's why they issued palliative measures to cushion the effects of COVID-19 on taxpayers. Remittance of VAT, which used to be on or before 21st of every month, has now been extended to the last day of the month. FIRS also states that it's imperative that companies whose revenues are in foreign currency and personal income, tax returns for foreign affairs, non-residents, military and police, immediately check their website for important updates as well as information on late returns penalty. All supporting documents can be submitted later to the tax office for all those who cannot access email facilities. There are lots more. From now till further notice, FIRS says all taxpayers can now take advantage of its simple, user-friendly and robust e-filing process to submit their documents online instead of visiting tax offices. Dedicated email addresses for each of the offices are available on their website, www.firs.gov.ng. Stay safe and comply with all the guidelines issued by the government so that together we can make Nigeria working again.
This broadcast is powered by FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service.
We understand that it's not just about buying a dress. Being able to pay your bills.
The chicken is showing cartoon.
But I just paid for it.
Promise.
I promise.
Making that quick stop at the shop. Or sending some money home for the holidays.
We just received the money right now.
You're welcome, Mom. I told you I would send it.
It's about the 90,000 businesses across 13 countries in Africa who trust us to keep their promises. It's knowing that anywhere, anytime, anyway, you can always pay. Flutterwave, simplifying payments for endless possibilities.
The National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency, NESRIA, an agency of the Federal Ministry of Environment, advises that infectious waste generated from isolation centers and treatment of COVID-19 infected persons are disposed according to laid down guidelines. Disinfection of buildings, streets, and equipment should be done using set standards. Waste handlers should wear appropriate personal protective equipment properly. Waste generators should package their waste for transport to treatment facilities, and each containerized infectious waste must be securely closed and labeled. Don't reuse disposable gear. Proper handling of infectious waste will reduce the spread of coronavirus. For detailed guidelines and further information, visit nesria.gov.ng. Email dg@nesria.gov.ng. Helplines 090-1066-1915. Nesria, ensuring a cleaner and healthier environment for all Nigerians.
My mother-in-law and I are like 5 and 6. And our Gile game, it's copy and paste. But when it comes to our favorite milk, we're so different. My mother-in-law loves her pig-filled milk because it's low in cholesterol. And I love my Pig full cream milk because it's rich and creamy. And that's why I buy both. So choose your Pig today.
Pig. Reach for your pig.
Welcome back. Officials of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, are in Calabar, the Cross River State capital, to ascertain the true COVID-19 status of the state. Leader of a 7-member ministerial scoping team, Dr. Omobolanle Olowu, stated this at the Margaret Ebo International Airport, Calabar. Paul Abel completes the report.
They were taken round town to observe measures such as the no mask, no movement enforcement and others by the state government to fight the pandemic. The team got briefs from the chairman COVID-19 task force team at the Ministry of Health on the entire response of the state to contain the COVID-19 crisis.
Since we have not been receiving any casualties, it means the state must be doing something right. So anyhow, we are here to also see if there are gaps that the federal government can also come in to fill.
For us in Cross River State, they are just here on a day visit, so they can go around and see, validate what we're doing. We don't have any recorded case, confirmed case of COVID-19. We sent a couple of samples to the labs and they've come back negative.
The task force chairman is also using the opportunity to appeal for support from the federal government in patronizing its garment factory to produce PPEs, manning of international borders, as well as ensuring the full implementation of the Incident Action Plan. The NCDC officials are expected to participate in the inspection of other facilities in the state. At the end, they will come up with their assessment. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NGN News.
Now to the National Assembly, where the House of Representatives has commenced investigation into allegations that it was giving a financial inducement of $10 million to pass the Infectious Diseases Control Bill. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali covered the inaugural sitting of the ad hoc committee.
This ad hoc committee was mandated by the House to find out where information emanated from that a foreign organization operating in Nigeria allegedly gave House members $10 million bribe to pass the Infectious Diseases Control Bill. Chairman of the committee, Representative Henry Nwauba, said those invited to appear should furnish the committee with evidence.
This ad hoc committee has the mandate of the House to find out if, while the House is on a journey to rebuild Nigeria, to stamp out corruption at every level, if perhaps some members, be they leadership or floor members, are compromising the integrity of the House.
Among those that made submissions is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
The foundation has not offered any financial incentives to any member of the Nigerian legislative branch for the passage of the legislation, nor has it offered any grant to organizations in Nigeria in connection with the same.
Other respondents at the hearing claimed to have received a press statement on the allegation from Coalition of United Political Parties, CUP.
We are not spreading or helping to bring down this institution. In fact, I thought before we will come to speak, the CUPP or the author of this press statement will probably have said something here.
As at the time the press conference was given by CUPP, we were not given the full information.
Counsel to CUP said the body has filed a suit in court to have the inquiry aborted.
By Section 88 and 89 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the House of Representatives cannot summon our clients on issues such as this. These are the issues to determine in the Federal High Court. We have approached the Federal High Court.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Even with the devastating effects of the novel COVID-19, winning the war against it is not a big deal if only Nigerians can cooperate and do the needful. Emir of Gombe, Abubakar Shehu Abubakar, stated this in a message to Nigerians on the pandemic that brings the entire world to its knees. Abubakar Adamu reports.
He hardly speaks, but with the havocs being inflicted on the global community by COVID-19, the Emir of Gombe, Abubakar Shehu Abubakar, could not but speak out with a view to checking excesses of the killer virus. The royal father believes collective response can make great difference in the war against COVID-19.
Religions have admonished followers to avoid gathering during flag. The stay-at-home directives is in line with our religion doctrines. I urge you to comply with all this, with all government guidelines. COVID-19 is not a death sentence, as a lot of people have recovered.
Though the daily confirmed cases of coronavirus has slightly dropped in Gombe State recently, the state still remains among the worst hit with more than 100 cases. In Gombe, Abubakar Adamu, NTA News.
The Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs has asked Muslim faithful in Nigeria to look out for the new crescent of Shawwal on Friday, 22nd May 2020, which is equivalent to 29th Ramadan 1441. A statement from the Deputy Secretary General, Professor Salisu Shehu, felicitated with Nigerian Muslims and their counterparts across the world for witnessing another Ramadan and prayed Allah to accept acts of worship carried out throughout the holy month. The statement urges anyone who recites the new moon to contact traditional Islamic leaders in their localities or the National Moon Sighting Committee for the Sultan to announce. Religious leaders in Kaduna rose from an emergency meeting this Monday evening with a resolve to support government decisions and measures aimed at containing further spread of coronavirus pandemic. Muhammad Umar Ajingi reports that the meeting, which lasted for about 2 hours behind closed doors, was convened by the governor to bring to fore issues surrounding the extension of the lockdown order, shutting down of worship centers, and the recent closure of the Saturday's window. The governor says government is aware of the inconvenience the decision might come with, but it remains the best alternative to prevent further spread of COVID-19. In attendance at the meeting are prominent Islamic scholars including Sheikh Ahmad Gumi, Imam Tukur Adam Al-Manar and representatives of Jama'atu Nasril Islam in the state. Now, as part of response to the COVID-19 pandemic, wife of the president, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, through her Future Assured program, has donated a consignment of personal protective equipment and essential drugs to Yobe State government. Mustafa Yusuf Musa reports.
The donation of personal protective equipment and essential drugs to Yobe State by wife of the president, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, through her Future Assured project, was meant to help in fighting COVID-19 in the state. Receiving the items from the team leader, Bamaji Mohamed Kukawa, Governor Mula Buni thanked Aisha Muhammadu Buhari for providing such support, as states across the country, in collaboration with the federal government, are working hard to control the spread of COVID-19.
This support will be judiciously utilized for the purposes intended.
First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and to inform you, Your Excellency, sir, of our intention to donate some personal protective equipment and some essential drugs to your state government.
The donated items, which includes goggles, protective suits, face masks, hand sanitizers, anti-malaria, anti-diabetes drugs, are to be distributed to Yobe State University Teaching Hospital, State Specialist Hospital, and Mariam Abacha Children and Maternity Hospital in Damaturu, the state capital. Mustafa Yusuf Musa, ANTA News.
About 15,000 households in Adamawa State have benefited from food items shared by the All Progressives Congress APC in the state to cushion the effects of COVID-19. Simon Asha reports that a palliative is courtesy of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Bose Mustafa.
Assisting the people in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic, especially the less privileged in the society, will go a long way in alleviating their sufferings. That is why the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, Bose Mustafa, through his party, the APC, shared palliative to the 21 local government areas of Adamawa State to cushion the effect of the pandemic. Abdullahi Tongo, a 43-year-old father of 5, and a person living with disability, could not hide their joy with the gesture.
See, the SDF help the people of Tongo with the rice and indomie and so many things. We are happy about that. We are very happy.
With a heart full of gratitude, we say thank you to the party and thank you to the donor.
The state chairman of the party, Ibrahim Bilal, among other party stalwarts, who spearheads the distributions across the state, say the fight against COVID-19 is everybody's business, and the APC is not left out in this regard.
I want to highlight our people about this disease of coronavirus.
We want the people at the grassroots level to feel the impact of the government, individuals, parties that are supporting them at this time.
Face masks were also distributed to contain the spread of the virus, as each local government area grows some with 250 bags of rice, 150 cartons of noodles for our distribution to the targeted beneficiaries. In Yola, Simon Asher, NTA News.
And as part of its contributions to the ongoing effort to bring succor to Nigerians, especially the most vulnerable groups in the society amidst the COVID-19, the Northern Governors' Wide Forum has distributed palliatives to widows in Zamfara State. Wife of Zamfara State Governor Aisha Bello Muhammad flagged off the distribution exercise in Gusau, the state capital. Sadia Abubakar Tunau has more.
Don tuntunan da mazan mu na rasu ba mu samu wanda ya kula da mu ba sai yanzu Allah ya kawo mana ita. Mun gode da wanga tallafi Allah ya saka da alheri.
Distribution of these palliatives to the widows in Zamfara by the wife of the state governor Hajia Aisha Bello Muhammad is in line with the recent arrangements made by the Northern Governors' Wives Forum to cushion the effect of the coronavirus lockdown on the vulnerable groups. Members of the forum agreed to reach out to vulnerable groups in their respective states, whereby over 3,000 beneficiaries will be provided with food items to ease their hardship during the lockdown.
I am here to commend the distribution of food items to the widows in Zamfara State, and I hope that this will help in cushioning the hardship and the lockdown, inshallah.
Hajia Aisha Bello added that easing the hardships of orphans and women is her top priority during this critical time. The package comprises rice, cooking oil, pasta, and seasoning. In Gusau, Sadia Abubakar Chino, NTA News.
Now, the family of former president of Nigeria, the late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, has donated food and personal protective gears to the Federal Capital Territory Administration to support its palliative drive in the battle against coronavirus. Presenting the items on behalf of the family under the aegis of Women and Youth Empowerment Foundation, Shehu Umaru Yar'Adua commended the doggedness of health workers. Ifeanyi Ezumba reports.
Recognizing that the social and economic impact of COVID-19 is still significant in our communities, Sheikh Umar Yar'Adua emphasized that all must play their role and follow the recommendations given by the NCDC, adding that the gesture is an addition to what government is doing.
Especially by wearing our masks when we're in public places, or maintaining social distancing, and following all the recommendations given by the World Health Organization.
Just saying you can move out of your comfort zone to touch lives. In touching lives, you wouldn't know. The little gesture you think about might go a long way in saving some other people from dying.
In a related development, the Federal Capital Territory Administration extended hands of fellowship to the management of National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP. Delivering the item to the management of NAPTIP, led by its Director General, the FCT Minister of State, Ramat Tijani Aliu, identified NAPTIP as an organization that tackles one of the very serious challenges of child abuse among vulnerable families in the country. Items donated include food items and protective kits, among others. In Abuja, Ifeanyi Ezumba, NT News.
The National Inland Waterways Authority congratulates the Chief of Staff to President Muhammadu Buhari, Professor Ibrahim Abola Gambari, on his appointment. Managing Director of the authority, Dr. George Moghalu, describes the appointment of the seasoned scholar and technocrat, Professor Gambari, as well-deserved following the many years of unquestionable service, both at national and global levels. The National Inland Waterways Authority prays for divine wisdom and courage required to successfully discharge the responsibilities that come with the appointment. The Ebere Emere Okori Ogale Chia in Eleme, River State, King Apollos II, has congratulated Professor Ibrahim Gambari on his appointment as the new Chief of Staff to President Muhammadu Buhari. King Apollos II notes that President Buhari made the right choice in appointing Professor Gambari, who is known for his patriotism, competence, loyalty, accommodating nature, and commitment to duty. He is confident that the erudite professor, who is one of the longest-serving diplomats as Minister of External Affairs, Nigerian ambassador and permanent representative in the United Nations, special Nigerian representative in the United Nations, including being elected as president of the Security Council on 2 different occasions, will bring his wealth of experience to bear on the success of the present administration and the development of the country at large. Similarly, the Ohaneze Ndibo congratulates Professor Ibrahim Gambari on his appointment as Chief of Staff to the President and Paul Ikone as the Executive Secretary, National Land Development Authority. The Ohaneze Ndibo extols the brilliant performance of Professor Gambari in previous assignments and also commended President Buhari on his efforts in the agricultural sector in the face of the COVID-19. Now let's have more reports as we join Jennifer in Lagos.
Kenny. Now the National Agency for Food and Drug Advises is in Nigeria through free e-registration. Kenny Beluge reports that the move is to promote local manufacturing and cushion the effect of the coronavirus pandemic on the sector.
There is no doubt that the COVID-19 pandemic has proven to be a serious challenge to the global economy and Nigeria inclusive. Financial experts have, however, argued that many micro, small, and medium enterprises will go out of business after the coronavirus pandemic. The virtual launch by National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control is to introduce some palliative measures to assist the MSMEs in expediting e-registration of their products.
Our staff are ready to assist micro and small businesses to see this opportunity to register their products.
To make things easy, we know that funds will be a problem. We know that most of them were actually struggling before, and a lot of them have ideas that can actually help the economy recover. And so we sat down together and we said, look, if it's possible for us, we would like to reduce our tariff. Just even if it's just a window period, to see how they can jumpstart again. Because everywhere has been really quiet and dull. So
the Vice President said the challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic have presented unprecedented opportunities for Nigeria to reset critical sector of its economy. The stakeholders' virtual meeting also provided an opportunity to strengthen the productive capacity of MSMEs in Lagos. Ken Igbeluge, NTA News.
Meanwhile, a non-governmental organization, Bethesda Home for the Blind, has emphasized the need for more attention to be given with people with disability this COVID-19 era. The call was made when an imposter impersonating as a task force officer forcefully entered their premises late at night. Imole Ayotokede has details.
COVID-19 presents risks for many living with disabilities around the world. Hence, the need to protect them and their rights during the pandemic. Against this background, Bethesda Home for the Blind in Lagos have put in place stringent measures that include restrictions of interaction between the blind students and the public. It was therefore shocking when an intruder who claims to be a member of the Man-O-War was caught in the school's premises.
On that Friday, we come out, we are praying around 11 o'clock. Somebody knock with Okada. He said, I should open the gate. I said, who are you? He said, it's a task force from Alausa. He said, I should open the gate. I said, no, I can't open the gate by that time. He dressed like a military person. So he now went. Later, like 5 minutes again, we are praying. The next thing we see, somebody jump inside at that gate there.
The police public relations officer stated that the suspect was not authorized to be anywhere near the institution. He also violated the partial lockdown curfew.
What was he doing there? Was he actually on patrol? Even if he's supporting the police, was he with the police at that time? Was he on patrol? And the answer is no. We also arraigned him in the mobile court.
Bethesda Home for the Blind is a refuge place for disabled orphans. The director of the school emphasized that there is need to strengthen security in order to protect the special students and others with disability. In Lagos, Imole Ayotokede, NTA News.
Thank you, Tokede. We have more on the news, but after the break, stay tuned.
Is on your my camera. Yes, I need you like you need me, and I know it's awesome, my baby. Ni baba,
data plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Dial *777# to choose a plan. Glow Unlimited.
Good morning, son. I hope you're still not sleeping.
Coronavirus, cause everywhere.
your food. We set some tips. Majorly, wash your hands regularly and sanitize as well.
Just sit down your hands, yo. If not, you go cash yo. If not, you go cash yo.
When we get information this season, it is to protect yourself and others around you. Do not be stubborn about your health. You may endanger yourself and others around you. Speak up, do your part, and help flatten the curve. Let's stay alive together.
We can stay alive. Stay alive. Stay alive. Stay alive together. Oh, oh, stay alive.
What we are really cultivating here is a better future for all Nigerian women, and it's not always easy. Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
Let's get right into this cooking action.
I swear they read, but the jam just the jam all of us.
Now, how many of us know how to sing the national anthem? I'm sure we do. White on the Nigerian flag. Who can tell me what it stands for?
Peace and unity.
Do we have a flag, man?
Yes, we do.
Taiwo Akikumi. Green, white, green, he made our flag.
Action. Make your home the place to be with GoTV's super cool kids channels.
That sounds fun.
From funky friends that'll keep even the little ones busy.
All right, everybody, let's do this!
To learn as you watch educational shows for curious young minds.
You can do some amazing things.
There's plenty for everyone. Tune in to our kids shows and get everything you need to keep the kids entertained and learning the fun way. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Hi there, my name is Susanna Dekoka. I know this is a tough time for everyone, but the threat is not the people. The threat is the virus, the coronavirus. So, fight the virus and not the people. Being infected with COVID-19 is not a death sentence. It is treatable. As a matter of fact, the virus does not discriminate. Neither should we. Therefore, say no to stigmatization, say no to discrimination. Be kind, be supportive. Stigma will not fight COVID-19, but sharing accurate information does. Fight the virus and not the people.
Thank you for staying with us. Office of the Accountant General says it will pay salaries and allowances as prescribed by the Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission. Details on business news with Moplang Dakog. Hello, Moplang.
Hello, Kene. Thank you and welcome to Business News. The Office of the Accountant General of the Federation has debunked claims by tertiary institutions unions led by ASU that IPPIS was deducting their salaries and allowances to the extent that their take-home is now only 50% or less of what they earn. In a statement released this Monday, the office said IPPIS applied the correct rate in compliance with Section 34 of the 6th Schedule on Personal Income Tax Act of 2011. The Office of the Accountant General advises the tertiary institutions academic unions to approach the Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission, the only body authorized by law to prescribe salary structure and issue circulars for all federal government employees in Nigeria to formalize any agreements on salaries and allowances they claim to have been approved for them. And on the capital market, transactions on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange opened the week in positive territory. The all-share index and market capitalization advanced by 0.29% to close at 23,941.75 basis points as traders exchanged 333 million shares valued at 3.9 billion naira in 5,544 deals. The financial services industry led the activity chart as transaction in the shares of Access Zenith Bank and Sterling Bank led in terms of volume of traded shares. Okomu Oil, MTN Nigeria and Unilever were the top price gainers for the day, while Guinness and May & Baker led the losers table. That's it on Business News at this time. We'll now go over to our Port Harcourt Network Center, where Jenny will give us more news. Hello, Jenny.
Hello, Mopla. Good evening and welcome. The second round of total lockdown in Obiakpo and Port Harcourt City Council areas of Rivers State commenced with an impressive level of compliance. Robinson Darataide reports that a few essential service workers with authorization permits were seen on the roads.
Governor Nyesom Wike relaxed the total lockdown in Obiakpo and Port Harcourt City Local Council areas for 6 days to enable citizens to restock food items and medicines. Traders and non-essential workers complied to the resumption of the lockdown by closing their shops and confined to their homes. NTA camera lens captured some essential workers who had to trek long distances to get to their places of work. Given the increasing figure of COVID-19 in the state, it is worrisome to find some youths flout the directive of the state government against street football and group exercise.
It's a complicated one because despite the lockdown, there are still increasing cases.
The situation actually is for the betterment of us, for the virus not to be spreading.
In spite of the roadblocks by security personnel, the roads are still a bit busy, attributed to the movement of essential workers and trucks conveying food items.
As you can see, everywhere is complied.
As the lockdown begins, citizens are advised to continue to observe the precautionary measures to flatten the curve of COVID-19. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Darataide, NTA News.
And we are done from here. Mohammed in Maiduguri is next.
Thank you, Jenny, and welcome viewers to Maiduguri. Borno State government is encouraging the use of face masks as a major step in the containment and curbing community spread of COVID-19 through distribution of free face masks in public places targeting about 1 million people. The state response team on COVID-19 has taken the distribution of the face mask to markets, mosques and churches in mostly crowded urban centers for a start. Paul Nkujevana reports.
It is a globally accepted norm and safety protocol that face masks can keep COVID-19 out of human lives, especially containment to curb community spread. This is why, following the relaxation of the 3-week-long lockdown, Borno State government saw the need to produce and distribute cloth masks as a simple, economical and sustainable alternative to the scarcely available surgical and other specialized face masks.
To get face mask is very, very difficult, and I thank God that they gave us face mask. It will enable us to use it and move around.
It is in view of the fact that most coronavirus pandemic carriers are asymptomatic and can spread the disease in areas with difficulty in maintaining physical distancing measures that the high-powered committee on COVID-19, headed by the Deputy Governor Umar Usman Gadafur, started the distribution in markets and worship centers such as mosques and churches.
People have started feeling the impact of this awareness of wearing face mask because everybody is directly involved.
We'll ensure that every citizen of Borno State, especially the vulnerable ones who are not able to buy the face masks, are given one.
Leader of the face mask distribution subcommittee, Commissioner for Women Affairs Zuwaira Gambo, went further to sensitize all on the use of the face masks that can be washed and reused. In Maiduguri, Paul Nkujevana, NTA News.
That is it from here. The rest of Network News returns to Abuja after the messages.
COVID-19, looking inward for alternative medicine, is the focus this week on NTA Tuesday Live. What are the potential in Nigeria for alternative medicine? What are the global best practices on issues of COVID-19? Tune in at 10:30 p.m. for answers and more on NTA Tuesday Live. Don't miss it.
Malam Waziri Bulama from Borno State, Northeast Nigeria, has been officially confirmed as the National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress. National Chairman of the party, Adams Oshomole, administered the oath of office to the National Secretary at the party's National Secretariat. Salihu Abdullahi was there.
I will be faithful. That I will be faithful.
Architect Waziri Bulama
taking oath of office as the third National Secretary of APC. Office of the National Secretary of the party became vacant when the former occupant Maimala Buni resigned to seek election as the governor of Yobe State. National Chairman of the party, Adams Oshiomhole, described the office of the National Secretary as strategic, hence the resolve by stakeholders in line with the party's constitution to look for a capable hand from the Northeast.
We've established a tradition, a convention in the party that when there are vacancies, we inform the region, the geopolitical zone where the office is zoned to consult and forward the name to us. We have used this method to fill all the vacancies that had arisen for one reason or the other. I will remain faithful to our governors. I will always be there to consult, to receive information, to be placed before the party for effective decision making. I have no personal agenda of my own.
Members of the party's National Working Committee, stakeholders of the party from the Northeast, including the governors of Borno and Gombe states, commended the choice of Waziri Bulama in Abuja. Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Now a look at the weather prospect.